Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Crypto Luke. I thought today I would run you through XRP and why it's pumping. Now, looking at the overall market to begin with, um, to be fair, it's looking pretty good from the crypto bubbles. Clanker's obviously 5.3% and XYN's that down for the day so far, but if we look at it from the week, absolutely smashed it. And even on the daily, a little bit of a pullback is to be expected. But why is XRP pumping this morning? There's some really exciting news that's beginning to pick up. Some of the guys I'd recommend you following is like Blockchain Backer, Credible, a few of the guys that have some really interesting information in this. But first of all, XRP gets BlackRock's attention. The world's largest asset manager has taken notice of the legal dispute between Ripple and the US Securities and Exchange Commission. BlackRock has highlighted that the Ripple SEC dispute as a cautionary example of regulated impact on digital asset value in its Bitcoin ETF filing. The fact that Ripple XRP is beginning to get noticed from these huge investors and huge banks, etc., and stuff like that, is only going to help us print the price higher. Obviously, with Donald Trump coming in and the SEC sentiment forming from like very bearish towards crypto and now becoming quite bullish is really exciting. And when we actually break it down and look at the chart, look, this is the liquidity zone which I have put in terms of like we might wick below it, but generally speaking, we're going to wick into it and come back out. And you can see that other than I think this, to be fair, was when the pretty bearish news around Iran and Israel came out. We went all the way down to $1.90. It was a really good buying zone, to be honest with you. At first, I was thinking, cool, are we actually going to come down to $1, sort of $1.72? And admittedly, I had some buy orders which weren't hit at that level, but I did DCA to buy a bit more here. I do have a trade which I started when I began to see the reversal, as mentioned on my first video, at $2.02. Just a futures trade, only like 3x leverage, and already, we are what, $2.20, $2.19. And again, I think we are testing this sloping line of resistance. And I do think, over the next few days, we're going to break out. And with the market sentiment and some of the things that are going on in the market, the only way I can really see this going is up. Don't get me wrong, if some news comes in or some terrible stuff happens within the world, obviously this could change very, very quickly. But at this point in time, I'm incredibly bullish. Again, I'm trying to show you some really simple charts just to show you some basic stuff. Like we've obviously got the basic moving average in here, as you can see now. That could flip into support, hopefully pushing the price action up higher. And my expectations would be that soon we'll be back around the sort of $2.60 range. That would be my first target if we actually start pumping, because I saw a lot of people going, we are absolutely pumping now, and we're not really. If we're honest, let's take this one. If we measure that up, we're 12%, 12% up. That's not huge. We like the 30, 40, 50% pumps. That's what we're looking for, right? But as you can see, it is a move to the upside. Cool, we've been looking to push this now. And again, the sloping line of resistance, look, you could have put it in here, across, you could have put it in different ways. This is where I've put it, because this is where I believe I will begin to get incredibly bullish once we break above this line, especially if we begin to see volume pushing to the upside. If you actually look, this is on the daily, but if you actually look back in terms of volume, look, when we were hitting the $3.40, we were absolutely smashing in terms of volume, and especially in December, like when we had that big old pump, look, the volume was massive in terms of like money coming in, market sentiment and excitement. And I think that's going to return. Why do I think that's going to return? Well, look, Brad Garlinghouse, if you don't know who it is, get to know. He's the big man in charge of Ripple. And he's literally said Ripple is dropping our cross appeal and the SEC is expected to drop their appeal. As they previously said, we're closing this chapter once and for all and focusing on what most important, building the internet of value, lock in. I mean, that to me is huge. Like, that is such a big thing. The fact that they're going to, hopefully, this court case will end, the shackles will come off, and we'll begin to see the price absolutely pump. And when you have good news, good sentiment, you will begin to see charts like this. When we begin to see a big old pump for the upside. Now, what we would also like, in order to see, obviously, an alt season, go on, load. Oh no, come on. It's annoying. You get everything ready, you're well equipped, and you're like, cool, this is going to happen. Let's load again, why not? See what happens. Brilliant. Cool. So let's go to Bitcoin dominance. Let's look at this. Where are we at? Where are we at? So Bitcoin dominance, if you actually look at it from a whole, it has just been going up and up and up. Let's do it on a weekly, just so you can kind of get a good breakdown of where we're at in terms of this. So again, oh, brilliant. Sorry, my lines are going to be a little bit off now, but look, you can see that it's been trading within this channel. We've been saying high highs, and right now, again, we are testing all-time highs for Bitcoin dominance. Why is that? Look, Bitcoin's the one. It will generally outperform the altcoins for 99% until we get an alt season, but we are beginning to test this line here, which for me is a resistance line, which has been going on for months and months and months, and I believe that's going to be pretty hard for Bitcoin to break, really, from a dominance perspective, above sort of 66%, at least in the short term. When this channel begins to come down, what will happen is that liquidity will begin to enter altcoins, and we'll begin to see altcoins pump up. Look, we are trading well above all these moving averages, and at some point this will drop. When that drops, you will begin to see a move into, like, in my view, the higher caps first, the XRPs, the Solanas, the Ethereums, the Suis even, and then you'll see those numbers begin to pump. And as you can see here, looking at this channel, like XRP currently is really trading below like the majority of the moving averages, and as I said on the last chart, we're just beginning to test the basic moving average, and I'm expecting this to move into a position where XRP is beginning to retest. Like I said, for me, $2.60 is quite a key level that we need to get to before we start pushing again up towards the $3. Like I said, for me, this is primarily looking at XRP. If you guys want me to go into more detail, I'm happy to. If there's any subjects you want me to go to, if you want me to kind of run through my trades or even show my trades from a futures perspective or a spots perspective, more than happy to. But for me, like I said, this is episode 3. I'm just trying to, understand what you guys might like. At the moment, we've got only a few followers, so please like and subscribe. If you like my content, you want me to do more, want to see more, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you want to see, and I'll be more than happy to do that. But yeah, appreciate everyone that's watched, and yeah, have a lovely weekend. Peace.